that had it, and I think it was something like 89, 90, 94% of the students were not involved in a disciplinary action. So very proud of that. The other item that the administrators brought up, which was interesting, is they take a look at this discipline report, and they look at it and say, we've seen an increase here, we see this is a large number, and they focus on that to drive that number down. So they continuously look at this, and it's a living document. If cutting class is one of the issues, then they'll focus on cutting class, or disruptive behavior. That becomes the issue that they follow with. So I think the administration has got a good focus on what they're doing and how they're doing it. They keep the board and the public informed, because that's a public meeting that all that information is presented. And I have to agree with Steve. I think the prescription drug issue is an area that we work on. The administration there's no tolerance for that, and that's an area that we have to continuously focus on.
As far as disciplinary situations are concerned, I think the greater majority of them are behavioral. And again, the union leader, I have to quote them, had indicated that there was an increase in the number of out-of-school suspensions in Londonderry, but they were actually committed by a very small piece of the population. I believe it was something like 0.1%. So when you have something that small, you kind of know who your offenders are, and you can manage it. And I think that's also a part of why we need to explore other ways of dealing with behavioral situations, as they also make up a good portion of issues within the school.
Next question is from Union Leader Reporter Alec O'Mara.
Thank you. It's fair to say that over the past several years, Londonderry has taken a leadership role in pressing the state legislation and the courts for adequate education funding. Do you feel it is, what is the value to taxpayers for the district taking on this added responsibility, and is it something that you would like to see continued in the years coming?
We'll begin, Ron, with you.
I think there's value added to the community by doing it, and yes, I would like to see it continued. I think it's the leadership role that we've taken on, and we did. I believe when the Claremont decisions came down, we sat on the sidelines, and we should not have. One of the reasons, if you look at the funding issue, and I've had this issue continuously, Londonderry is a student-rich community. Over 20% of the residents in Londonderry attend our schools. Okay? When you look at the property tax and the amounts of property tax to support each student, Londonderry has less property tax to support a student than Manchester does. And that is one of the issues that we have. Okay? Back when Claremont was here, we were just above the line of the poorest towns of property tax to support it. When you equalize all the taxes and to get the rates, we were one of the poorest communities in the town. We had to pay more dollars, raise more dollars locally to pay for each student. Okay? When the governor came out with his new initiative, Steve took the lead on it. I helped a little bit in the superintendent to put together the coalition that fought the law, House Bill 616, and they won that lawsuit. But I believe we need to follow suit, and if it's not right for all of the state, then we should be a leader in the role. I have no questions about it. I think we should be a leader, and I think we should continue to fight as it goes along.
The short answer is money. We need money to run the schools, and when we take that role, we get the money that we need for the students. And actually, I can see that role also increasing to include having the town go after federal money as well.
Your question had to do with value. And when House Bill 616 came down the track, and we decided to form this organization. By the way, I'm the president of NH Cafe. presently, and should remain so as long as I'm on the board. I have to be on a school board to be in that position. But when that train came down the track and we decided to take it to court, I can remember we came out of the gate and the attitude was, yeah, it's unconstitutional, and yeah, we're going to get an injunction, and yeah, we're going to, take over the world. And it took a very, very short amount of time, probably 24 hours, to realize that we needed to act in an extremely businesslike manner. And we needed to not be emotional about the situation, even though we were upset about the fact that at that time we were going to lose $7 million in funding from the state, just simply because of the way they worked the spreadsheet. So by selecting the right attorney, and we looked at 3 different firms, by working with them in an appropriate manner, by doing everything exactly the right way and the right number of steps. We went to the Supreme Court, where they knocked us down to the Superior Court. We then got a summary judgment and sent right back up to the Supreme Court. And even though the state continually blocked us and tried to outmaneuver us, we stepped in the right direction, and we ended up winning the lawsuit, and House Bill 616 was found unconstitutional. And we've managed that through the system, and now we've gotten to the point where the court has let it go. The Supreme Court has let that case go with our ability to go back into the court if we need to, if the state doesn't follow the right direction. They dismissed it without prejudice, so we can go in if we need to. But it gave us the opportunity to get our money back. So we filed to get our money back. And the Attorney General finally agreed that, yes, House Bill 616 was unconstitutional. And of the funds that we collected from the different communities, the school district spent $20,000 in Londonderry. The town spent $20,000. The other 18 member communities and towns, it added up to quite a bit of money. But we got back $83,000. So our value for all of that work that we did and how much money it cost us was pretty darn good. If we get to the end of this June and they meet their requirement and they fund an adequate education. So as long as we continue to work in a business-like manner and hold the state accountable and do so so that we can get our money back, then it's a reasonable thing to do. We shouldn't be suing just to sue frivolously. We should be doing it to help the children throughout the entire state of New Hampshire, which, by the way, is why we did get our money back, because what we did with 616 benefited every child in the state of New Hampshire. So that means that the entire state had to pay that bill.
My turn. Londonderry school system is, without question, probably the #1 reason that people move to our community. In the last year alone, we've been recognized with Nate Greenberg named Superintendent of the Year for New Hampshire. Londonderry High School is the High School of the Year. Business Week magazine just this week announced Londonderry High School is the high school in the USA, according to Parental Choice. Mary Colton is the Assistant Principal of the Year at North School, and Matthew Thornton has been nominated for the Elementary School of the Year. All that while the current administration of school board has maintained a cost per pupil below the statewide average. And additionally, the superintendent and present school board has brought a budget before the voters that's approximately $2 million less than the default budget. My question to you would be, if you were capable of adding something back that was cut, what would it be? And if in fact there was still something to reduce the budget by, what specifically would that be? And
it's my turn, isn't it?
Maura is up.
Okay.
first.
So you want to know what would be added back and what would be reduced, essentially?
Yeah, if there's something from the $2 million that you would want to add back that you thought was maybe a cut that you'd want to bring back if that was possible? And conversely, is there something beyond the 2 million in reductions